And welcome, Mouse.
Thank you.
I am Sam. I am Bad Beard, and this is my podcast. We are at X Games 2024 in Ventura, California, and I found you right next to Pat.
Yep.
Doing amazing artwork.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead, for our friends at home, tell us who the hell you are.
My name is Mouse Rawk, TGL Cuts Crew.
Is it really your name?
It's my nick. It's one of my art name. What everyone calls me. Yeah, no worries. That's what I go by. I'm from Thousand Oaks, California. We're here just doing some live graffiti art demonstration. Just doing some live art. Yeah.
So when I was walking by, I talked about it with Pat, how you guys have it set up with the Saran wrap, and then you guys tackle one side of the mural. Everybody can watch you do it, go ooh-ah because you're really good at it, and then you guys flip it and let the kids have a go. Yeah.
So we'll flip it around, and then it's more of an interactive, community-driven thing. We pull in kids or adults or whoever wants to come try out spray painting on the wall. Yeah.
And how's it turn out? Have you been enjoying the show?
Yeah, it's been interesting. When you open the floodgates to the public with spray paint, it can get a little wild. So yesterday it started with one kid. He came up and started painting, and the next thing you know, there was like 20 kids all painting, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great time for sure. Yeah.
And then so you're sourcing all your paints. I assume that you just bake that in the budget and just have enough to just go around.
Right, yeah. So we're just trying to make sure we have enough to last the entire duration of the trip, you know? So, we got to be careful with how much paint we allow to be used at each session. Yeah.
Is spray painting one of your main mediums, or?
Yeah. Spray painting is the main medium I use. Spray paint and acrylic, mixed media artist, I guess you could say. Yeah. So I use all different kinds: acrylic, ink, but spray paint's preferred method. Yeah.
Was that from your youth?
Yeah. Started early on.
Tag that you then get
Yeah. I started writing early. About 99 is when I really picked it up. Yeah, writing.
Is that a term?
Yeah, writing would be like writing graffiti is the name. So in that subculture, if you're in that world, it's called being a writer. So I started writing, doing graffiti in 99, and never really stopped. So just been doing it pretty much my whole life.
So you've just been walking around with black thumbs.
Yeah, paint all over. No gloves today.
Gloves today.
Yeah.
Well, so then with that, like, I assume you've traveled everywhere, and logistically, are you traveling with paint, or are you just like procuring where you land, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it depends on if you drive, it's a lot easier. You can just pack it in the truck and go. Logistically, you have to ship it. Make sure the timing is aligned for when you do land. Because you can't fly. Obviously, you can't fly with aerosol. So, or you can what I'll do is I'll research where I'm staying locally, and then I'll find a paint shop there that carries the paint I prefer, and then I'll go in and buy paint once I land there. Yeah.
Has it ever been in your experience that you're like going somewhere and are you scaling these things and climbing, and are you one of those guys?
Sometimes, yeah.
What does that look like?
It can be tricky, dangerous,
Are you freestyling, or you find somewhere first and you go, all right, I want to get that, or?
Yeah. Typically you'll find the spot first, and then you can color coordinate what colors you're going to use, how big you want to go. There's various methods that come into play once you decide the spot you're gonna paint, for sure. Yeah.
From a layman's perspective, you see graffiti everywhere and you think, oh, these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But then the more you learn, there's dramatically different types of writers, taggers, dirtbags.
Yeah.
There's the artist, and then there's the derelict.
Right.
How wide is that margin?
It's huge. There's a wide variety. There's the gang culture. There's the artistic. There's the muralists. There's a wide variety of different people that come in and approach walls in a different way. Some is not as pleasing to the eye as others, but in my opinion, you can't really pick and choose. It's all just one subculture. Yeah.
Have you had crossover with that gang culture? Do you go do something? They're like, yo, dog, that's my wall.
Yeah, you got to be careful where you're painting, If you're in a spot that's hot, you typically, my rule of thumb is if you're unsure of the area you're painting in, be with someone that's from there. Because if you're not, you can get rolled up on and people can check you. So always got to know where you're painting.
How does that play out?
Yeah, I mean, it can get dangerous sometimes. You know, I've been in situations that aren't that are not fun, not friendly, but you just got to be smart going into it, knowing what you're doing and where you're painting. So just being aware of the spot is crucial for sure.
Is that something that you over time developed? Like, can you read tags?
Yeah, definitely. You get better as the years go on, deciphering what things say. You know, from layman.
Because it would be like from like a road map as you like cruise around. You're like, you know what's happening in whatever area based on what you see.
Absolutely, for sure. You can kind of tell what's going on in the area based off of the tags or the work that's being done or the style. You know, like Philadelphia has a very specific style. LA's got their own style. There's New York has, you know, it's all different depending on the location for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so as your skills develop and as your brand continues to explode, what is the antithesis of your work? Where would you like it to be, and how does that look? Yeah, so I think for me, I want to travel more, get more internationally known. That's like a big thing on my list. So Mr. 305 is really good at that. You should check in with him. Okay. Worldwide. Oh, he's also known as 305. Yeah, Pitbull. Yeah, it rings a bell. Yes, but yeah, I think for me, I just want to do large scale murals internationally. That's like my big goal. It's I like large. The bigger, the better. It's more impactful. So that's not something you're like popping into town doing some illegal shit and making art. You're like, oh no, you're just gonna sit at a spot and be there. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to balance both. You know, have some spots that that'll ride. Like freeway spots or whatever you want to hit, billboards, whatever's popping up in that city, and then also doing some stuff you can sit at the wall and really flex and have time to display your skills. Yeah. Is that when you're like reaching out to a big what's the largest mural you've ever done? The largest one I've ever done, I did one that was 10 feet by 100 feet. Ooh. So that took 3 days and it was over 150 cans. That was probably the biggest one I did. That was in Joshua Tree. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Is there not to say that I'm so cultured in the arena of, but is there anything that I would recognize or know? I mean, I was in LA for like 10 years, so I saw highways and freeways. Yeah. There's a spot called the Graph Lab. It's in Pico Union in downtown. That's a very it's a historical spot. And I did a big mural on the front of the wall. So people from all over the world go there to paint. It's a big paint yard. And they have humongous events. And so I was lucky enough to get that wall. So that's probably my biggest one. Is it still there? Yeah, it's been there for a while. Oh, cool. So that's a big, bright, colorful mural. It's right on the street off Venice. And that one's probably my most well-known one. Yeah, I'm sure I've seen it. Yeah, you might have. It's quite possible you've driven by it for sure. Cool. Yeah. What's the protocol and rules when it comes to like doing some huge piece of amazing art? Like, how much respect? I don't even know how to phrase it. Like, how do you get people to not fuck with it? Or you just have to accept at some point somebody's gonna fuck with it. Just with time, people are gonna come tag it, but it depends on the community and where it's at. Like a lot of people. Like that mural specifically does not get tagged a lot because a lot of the local people like it. It's when you paint a mural like that in that type of city or area, it usually rides a little bit longer because people don't like seeing all the tags and all the bullshit that comes with that. So you do have to do some maintenance for sure. So you do. It's not a one and done thing. You come. Yeah. No, I've cleaned that one up like 2 or 3 maybe. 4 or 5 times, something like that. Because it's such a great calling card. You're like, that's... Yeah, you want to protect your work and, the integrity of the wall. And, so I've gone back a lot to, clean stuff up, make it look, polish it up or whatever, yeah. I mean, so with what you do, and obviously you find your ways into spaces like this for business and commerce. Right. But do you have a LinkedIn for your what do you do? I don't. I've thought about that. I probably should have an art LinkedIn. I have a website, but I don't have I'm not on LinkedIn as Mouse Rawk. No, I don't even. I'm terrible at it. I know it exists, but I'm terrible at it as well. But it was just a funny thought. No, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, because at some point you find representation, right? Sure. would be that you get an art agent, or
yeah, maybe,
or just affiliated with like coordinators and bookers that run shows like this.
I think that's probably the better route,
Yeah.
you know, instead of like an agent. Just getting into more the commercial space or events, traveling, all that stuff kind of ties together for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, talking to Pat.
Yeah.
Some of the different things he's in, are you equally versed into other facets as well, or is like, nah, man, paint's my thing?
Paint's my thing.
Okay.
He's way more well reversed into different, you know, he does jujitsu and different things, yoga, all that stuff. I'm more just paint art strictly.
You're not just anything, Mouse. You're Mouse Rawk.
Thank you.
You grow a hell of a mustache. If you're not watching this and you're just listening,
Thank
you're
you.
missing out on the entire show.
Yeah, the mustache. It makes it.
Well, so I see you. You got a ring on the finger. Does that mean you got a growing family? What's that look like?
Yeah. I've been married for 11 years, and then I have a son, Max, who is 8, and my daughter, Dawson, who is 3.
Oh.
So 2 kids, wife, the whole shebang, dog, you know, white picket fence, all that jazz. Yeah.
How old are you?
37.
37.
Yes, sir.
You know a guy named Dan Mass?
No, I don't think so.
He's a buddy of mine in Atlanta now, but he's from your neck of the woods.
Oh, really?
Yeah, same age. So
Dan Mass.
I'll show you a picture later.
Okay.
When you show me that piece of art down
Yeah.
Pico.
Yeah.
No, that's great. So is she an artist as well, or?
Yeah, she's very creative. She's a hairstylist, and she owns her own jewelry business. Mm-hmm. And so we're both creative people. We've always connected in that way. But yeah, she's definitely very creative, artistic. Yeah.
And then your children as well as your boy.
Oh yeah, we got the
Max
boy
making messes.
Max making messes, and my daughter really loves painting. She's 3, but she is artistically driven for sure. She's really always she's like paint, and I built a studio in my house in my garage, so she's always wanted to go out there and paint, which is cool. Yeah.
When you as an artist know what you do and influences you and how you choose to do it, that's from lived experience that you landed where you are.
Yeah.
To see a child do it that's not restricted by a life of influence and decisions, and like, what do you see in her art that you're like, that's fucking cool, she has no idea what she's doing?
Right. I think the freedom to just to go and not think about it is like what a lot of artists wish they could do, because there's so much hesitation when you approach a canvas, like what should I do, what color. For her, she's like, she just goes, and that freedom to not care is like super valuable. So that's always something that I've always admired from her work. It's kind of cool to see. Yeah.
Well, so do you find yourself like, while wanting to foster it, you don't want to be so like
critical
critical, or like you praise one thing so much that then she's like, you know,
like keeps doing the
yeah.
You got to be careful with that for sure, and just not hone in on one specific
like
achievement.
The most commercially viable option. You're like, wow, I really
this is
like
great.
that.
Keep doing that.
Yeah, keep going. Good.
Right.
No, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, so in the area you're at, granted you're in the writing.
Yep.
Is it a really artistic community? Is there a lot of support for that? Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's an incredible, creative, and most of the time very supportive community for sure. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, and then so with the world you live in, you know, we've all the exit at the gift shop or whatever.
Yeah,
these
sure.
type of artists that like I feel like I'm pretty hip to some degree.
Yeah.
Are there big ones that were influences for you, and then even people that you interact with, you're like, oh yeah, that's a homie.
Yeah.
You're like, what's that look like?
For sure, yeah. There's a ton of like larger artists that influenced me early on, and then a lot of the people that are in my crew currently, TGL crew. That's
what
like
was TGL.
TGL stands for The Good Life. The Government Lies. Toys Get Lost.
What?
There's various meanings for it, but that crew has a bunch of talented artists who all influenced me a great deal, for sure.
Is that like a beat-in thing, you guys?
No, we didn't get jumped in. No.
Everybody's got a can, they're just hitting you.
No. It's a very, very incredibly supportive crew. Yeah, we all support each other a lot.
Is there times that you have to have in this, let's say the TGL, like some type of like, oh shit fund, where like, I mean, maybe it's not how I think it to be, where...
Yeah.
Is there a risk, like, of getting arrested for tagging at this point? Or is that just, like, they just tell you to fuck off?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard different stories, and I've encountered different situations where they will the cops will check you, but take your paint maybe, but not like take you. They won't book you or anything. There's too much, especially in LA. There's so much stuff going on. Yeah. It's kind of like a waste of time. There's too many other things that are going on that needs attention from the cops.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's the future for writing and writers?
Man, I don't know. It's crazy right now. There's so many different people getting into it, and there's so many styles, and I'm just trying to bring something unique to the table, a little something different. But
what is that? What do you do?
I'm more like shape based. I do a lot of like 2-dimensional style stuff. I don't always do letters, so I do a lot of like abstract graffiti. So I'm a little bit different, I guess you would say, from like the typical graffiti writer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and then even the tools that have been and then you're using, is there any developments in that ever, or?
Yeah, for
really?
sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah. There's always. Right now, there's all different kinds of paints coming. Like the paint we're using here at the X Games is a water-based acrylic odorless paint. So it's very safe and it doesn't smell. Like kids can use it. So there's all different kinds of technology that's helping advance the culture, which is cool. And they have cans that are really small and like large cans. There's all different kinds of stuff happening in that respect.
And is it everybody likes just the finger technique, or I've used the guns on some like random like
paint. On the can, the gun on the can. I prefer the tips because you can interchange them. So you can have caps they're called fat caps. They'll go as big as like a basketball, and then you have caps that can go as size as like half of your fingernail. So it can get all different shapes.
So when you're running out doing whatever, you usually have a few tips in your pocket ready to go.
Yeah, you always got to have various tips depending on what you're doing. Like if you're filling in a large area, you'll use what's called a fat cap, and then if you're going to do your outline, it'd be something much smaller. You can get more detail, more precise, more can control. Yeah. So
Well, and then are you also like a climber? Do you have like climbing gear and?
No, not no gear. No gear for me. That's really popular right now. A lot of guys are using rappelling. Yeah, that has blown up in the last like year. You'll see like people, crazy spots up high that. Like, how'd you get up there? There's nothing to stand on, It's just like a flat building, 100 feet up. But people are using mountain climbing gear to accomplish those spots, which is a little too risky. A little too risky for me. Yeah. I'm not trying to get in a harness and the rope and all that stuff. Too much for me. I'll stay on the ground for now.
Well, I'm excited to see what you do on the ground and continue to check out what you guys are doing here. So this is the time of the show where you get to the camera, whatever you want to bring attention to or talk about.
Cool.
For you.
For sure. I appreciate it. Yeah. My name, I go by Mouse Rawk, artist, painter. You can check out my stuff on mouserawk.com. And just want to say thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Are you ever at Art Basel? That seems like a thing that you would
I've never been. I'd like to go eventually one day.
The East Coast thing.
Yeah, it's in Miami. It's supposed to be pretty cracking.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, have you been?
I have.
Cool.
Working for a vodka brand.
Oh.
Yeah, it was an interesting trip.
Yeah.
But I got to check things out and see it firsthand. And what interesting city to have an event like that because it just shuts it down.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah,
I heard it's pretty wild. Yeah.
But you'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, maybe we can link up there.
Well, I appreciate your time. And,
no doubt, man.
Thanks
Thank you.
for tuning in, friends, and continue listening, watching, wherever you get your podcast. Check it out, and let me know what you think.
Cool.
All right, see ya.
Peace.
That was it.
Cool, man.
Hey,
wow, that was great.
You like
Thank you. That was fun.
Cool.
I've never done anything like that.
I enjoy it as well.
How can